One Monday morning, a single document lands on a bank. Hundreds of pages of brand new rules. Three different teams read it, and each one is completely sure it belongs to someone else. Here is the strange part. All three are partly right, because a rule like this does not have one owner. It has three, and almost nobody can tell them apart. So by the end of this, you will be able to separate governance, compliance, and audit in one sentence each, and know exactly which one owns a rule the moment it lands. That document has a name: DORA, the European Union's Digital Operational Resilience Act. It became binding for banks in January 2025, and it is the perfect troublemaker because it refuses to sit in one box. It demands computer security controls. It rewrites supplier contracts. It forces fast incident reporting, and it puts the board personally on the hook. So who actually does what? That question splits into three. Who is answerable for it? Who guards it every day? And who independently checks that it really got done? Start at the top. Governance is not a team doing tasks. It is the layer that is accountable. In a bank, that is the board and senior leadership, together called the management body. They set the direction and they answer for the outcome, even though they never touch the day-to-day work. DORA makes this almost brutally clear. It does not just ask the technology team to handle resilience. It names the management body and says the responsibility stops there. Read that again. Ultimate responsibility. Not the head of technology, not an outside vendor. The management body. And here is the rule that trips everyone up. You can hand off the work, but you can never hand off the answer. A bank can pay an outside firm to run its systems, but if it goes wrong, the board still answers for it. That is governance in one line. You own the outcome, whether or not you did the work. So the board owns it, but the board cannot personally read every log and test every system. It leans on two functions underneath, and this is exactly where almost everyone gets lost, because from the outside, these two look like the same thing. The rules people. They are not the same thing. One sits inside the business and helps it follow the rule. The other stands apart and checks that it did. Mix them up and you have just deleted the only independent check in the building. First function, compliance. Compliance is permanent and ongoing. It reads a rule like DORA, translates it into policies that people can actually follow, advises the business, and watches, day after day, whether those rules are being kept. Think of it as the built-in guardrail. It works alongside risk management, and together, the two of them form what is called the second line. Compliance does not wait for a yearly review. It is there all the time, on the field, keeping the business between the lines. Second function, internal audit. Same rule, a completely different job. Audit is independent. It does not build the policies, and it does not monitor day to day. It comes in periodically, from outside the business, and asks one cold question. Did all of that actually work? This is the third line, and its entire value is that it is process independent. It even checks compliance itself. That is why people call it the team that checks the checkers. If audit reported to the people it inspects, its opinion would be worth nothing. Here is what a smart, busy person assumes. Compliance and audit are basically the same department. The rules informs people. It feels right, it is wrong, and the difference is the whole point. Compliance is on the field, helping the business play by the rules. Audit is the referee who was never on the team. Merge them, and the referee is now coaching the players, and nobody is left to blow the whistle. Independence is not a detail. It is the entire reason audit exists. So here is the whole map on one page. The business runs the operation. That is the first line. Risk and compliance guard it from inside. That is the second line. Internal audit checks it from outside. That is the third line. And sitting above all of them, accountable for every bit of it, is governance, the board. Governance owns it. Compliance guards it. Audit checks it. Three honest jobs, not three names for the same thing. Now watch what happens when these blur. That DORA document lands. Governance assumes compliance has it. Compliance assumes the technology team has it. Audit assumes someone already signed it off. Everyone points at the desk beside them, and a rule that names the board personally quietly falls through the crack until an inspection finds the gap. Get the map wrong and the finding lands on your desk. Get it right and the same rulebook becomes three clean jobs. The board owns the resilience framework. Compliance builds the policies and watches them. Audit independently tests whether any of it actually holds. One last thing, because it is the newest rule landing on these same desks: artificial intelligence. When a bank switches on an AI system, nothing about the map changes. Governance is still accountable for what the AI does. Compliance still has to make sure it follows the rules. Audit still has to independently check it. Under the EU AI Act, a high-risk system needs a human keeping watch, and a human still signs. AI is not a fourth function. It is just the newest thing the same three have to cover. So, governance, compliance, audit. Governance owns the outcome and answers for it. Compliance guards the rule from inside, every day. Audit checks independently that it all held. And DORA is just the newest rulebook that needs all three at once. If you remember one thing, remember the test. For anything that lands on a bank, ask: who owns it? Who guards it? Who checks it? If you cannot name three different answers, your lines are blurred. If breakdowns like this are useful to you, the free Reg AI Brief newsletter is where the next one lands. I will see you there.